toolkit. And joining us now is JPL Chief Engineer and landing veteran Rob Manning. He will be breaking down key moments coming up, and very few people know more about landing on Mars than Rob, going back to the Pathfinder mission in 1997. Thanks for joining us today, Rob.
Thank you very much, Rick, for having me here. And what a wonderful experience. What a wonderful day for a beautiful day in California. We're just also excited here, anxious, worried, but very hopeful.
Rob, I have a question for you. There is a landing tradition at JPL that involves eating peanuts for good luck. Can you tell us how did that start?
Yes, it started in the mid-1960s. What happened was we had a series of missions that had failures. The Ranger program in the early 1960s, one after another, failed. And what happened was one day, a fellow by the name of Dick Wallace on Ranger number 7, on the 7th attempt, decided to bring peanuts to the ops area just before the launch, and guess what? That mission worked. Now, we're not supposed to be too superstitious to the team, and they can sneak one peanut in their mouth as part of to keep the tradition alive. But you know, this is part of the COVID experience, but we can't leave this one undone. So this is what we're doing, and this is going to help us land safely.
All right, thanks, Rob. I have some questions for you a little later on, but we're heading back to Swati Mohan, who is part of the landing team. She'll be calling out key milestone and events as they happen from Mission Control. So let's listen in right now.
So right now we're still about 20 minutes from entry, and the EL phase is giving a last-minute confirmation of what will be happening in the upcoming changes to the vehicle, just to remind the team.
This will allow us to steer our trajectory as we make our way through the atmosphere. This is one of the things that allowed MSL, the Curiosity rover, to land where it did. And we're depending on the same type of entry guidance this time around to help get us very close to our target. As we make our way through entry, finish our guided entry profile, we'll do a maneuver called heading alignment, where we point toward the target and get ready to deploy the parachute. But before we deploy the parachute, we need to get rid of a set of balanced masses that have been giving us a center of gravity, or CG offset, throughout the guided entry phase. So these are called the entry balance masses. We also call this maneuver SUFR, S-U-F-R, or straighten up and fly right. So we'll go ahead and eject those masses when we get a trigger from the GNC system telling us that we're at the appropriate range to the target to do so. As soon as we deploy those, we will no longer have a CG offset, and we'll be ready to deploy the parachute 17 seconds later.
Right where the Perseverance team is sitting now, what's in store for them as we approach landing?
I'm going to hold here for EDL prep as we're about to start that anchor.
Copy, piece 2. And activity, please call that out when it's ready. Copy, Flip.
I'm going to make the announcement now. Go ahead. Maggie's make the announcement that
All right. Now, Rob, you've been right where the Perseverance team is sitting now. What's in store for them as we approach landing?
Well, this is the nail-biting time. Fortunately, we still have ones and zeros coming, but very soon, as we approach cruise stage separation, the transmitter on this rover we've been using all the way to get to Mars is going to be turned off. So we will lose our ability to see ones and zeros. But the good thing is, once the cruise stage is gone, there's another radio that will continue transmitting a tone so that like a flashlight that will allow us to at least see that the vehicle is still on, and that color of that flashlight tells us a little bit what state the rover's in. But soon after that, it won't be very long before we'll be able to hear more ones and zeros coming from the spacecraft. So this is a really exciting time, and it's just important to remind people there's a lot that can go wrong in a day like today. There are thousands of things that have to go right.
Yeah, we had success in the past landing on Mars. You'd think it gets easier, but it really doesn't. Why is it still so difficult?
Well, it's because it's involved thousands and thousands of things, hundreds of thousands of lines of code. There's 79 pyrotechnic devices. Each have to work perfectly. One critical wire short, or one key thing mechanism that doesn't work or breaks, and it's mission over. And so it's, you know, and it's very easy. We're human beings. We're not perfect. Mistakes can be made. We count on each other to find our own mistakes, and we work very hard to learn from the mistakes of the past. We've had many failures. Remind people, roughly half, around half of the missions to Mars over history have failed. And so that could happen today too. Even though we've had a nice, wonderful string of successes in the United States, it's still still a bit of a gamble that we have hoped that we have erred in the side of luck, and we've stacked the deck and loaded the dice to make this thing succeed. But if we do fail, and if something bad happens today, I can tell you, we're going to learn it. We'll have the data that tell us what happened. We'll know why. We'll figure it out. And if we are allowed, we will pick ourselves up and get us back on the horse. And if Congress and NASA allow, we will try again. As we always do, we will learn from our mistakes.
And what are the possible scenarios we could be looking at today?
Well, there's things like one of the key stressful elements for all of us is parachute inflation. But just even separating from the cruise stage is a pretty major event. Lots of devices have to work properly. Certainly, the heat shield separation, getting the descent engine started. There's no less than 16 rocket motors that have to work. 8 to control during entry, another 8 to control it during landing. I said it's a lot of stuff, and it all has to work. And guess what? We haven't done this before with this vehicle ever. This is its first attempt to actually land. We can't try this on Earth. We don't have test pilots to try it out on this planet before the big show. So this vehicle is doing it for the first time. We've done the best testing we could do in bits and pieces, but you know, it's as best as we could do. But I think our team is up to it. This team is the best. It's a diverse, intelligent, amazing group of people. People from all over the world who worked on this, not just here in California, but all over NASA, contributors from aerospace, universities, countries around the world. It is just an incredible, remarkable engineering achievement, and I am just so proud of this team.
Thanks, Rob. Now, let's listen back into mission control.
Flight, we're about 14 minutes from entry interface. The vehicle is currently preparing the heat rejection system that has kept the thermal system cool inside the air shell for about the last 6 months. This will allow the spacecraft to more easily cut the line in upcoming cruise stage separation, which is under 4 minutes now.
We have now enabled the rover pyro bus.
That's the pyrotechnic system that's
We are powering off the cruise stage devices.
And these are the things in the cruise stage that we no longer need. With the pyrotechnic system working, we can explode the devices
the
necessary to
vehicle
separate.
is preparing for the upcoming cruise stage separation in about 3 minutes 15 seconds by powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
Yeah, this cruise stage has been very reliable.
We are firing our first pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas.
This has been the coolant that's kept our vehicle from getting too hot on the way to Mars. We have to vent it into space. And so this is one of the first major events that take place as part of entry, descent, landing.
The HRS vent anchor is complete.
Yes.
We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
Okay.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
What's happening now, Rob?
Okay, well, we're just waiting. The rover is completely in charge. It's doing all the things we've taught it how to do. It's all built into the software. We've tested it over and over and over again. This team has spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week testing this thing for years. And so this is really the culmination of all that work. So this vehicle is getting ready to push that cruise stage away. Once it gets pushed away, the entry system with the rover inside, with the rover still in charge, is going to get ready to take the vehicle, turn it to the right orientation, and aim it to Mars, and prepare for entering the atmosphere.
Za 3 minuty właśnie powinien lądować, a oni czują taki strach przed tym, że jednak może się nie udać.
Be prepared for this event.
We're about a minute and a half from cruise stage separation, about 11 minutes, 20 seconds from entry interface.
11 minut?
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes from cruise stage separation till entering the top of the atmosphere. From then on and out, things happen
We are
fast.
switching to MFSK tones. Telemetry will have stopped.
Telecom is confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about 9-10 minutes from now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance. We are under a minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
It's getting exciting. I have to admit, I am quite anxious, but very hopeful that this machine is going to do what we asked it
We are
to
seeing
do.
the heartbeat tones.
Okay, that means that there's no more ones and zeros coming. It's just the vehicle telling us it's still alive.
We're continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation. We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the
Oni to
spacecraft.
oddzielili w animacji. To może coś oznaczać.
We're off on a good start.
In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
Około 9 minut jeszcze.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own. It's turning itself into the direction of facing the heat shield toward Mars, and will eventually hitting the top of the atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here on out.
That's confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating the cruise stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun. At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that has kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We're about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, the vehicle is pointed in the right direction. The thrusters are warmed up and doing their job. And now we've spun down from 2 revolutions per minute that the vehicle had the whole way to Mars. It's a spin-stabilized spacecraft. And then from here on out, it's going to just be a bullet, and it's going to control its orientation and attitude via rockets on the back of the back shell.
Points carrier lock. Sorry, the DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock.
Miejmy nadzieję,
You see the carrier on the downlink?
Nikt mnie nie ogląda,
Flight level 1.
3 osoby.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface.
3 osoby, fajnie.
We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that
Więcej.
path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report.
Nie chciałoby mi się wierzyć, że
This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
Tak nie wygląda po prostu. Ojeju! 404 tysiące osób ich oglądają, prawie 405 tysięcy. Nie, NASA trzeba subskrybować.
As soon as we get to the top of the atmosphere, it'll be very quickly, which is the entry point. It won't be very long before the atmosphere will start getting thicker and thicker. It's going very quickly at a fairly steep angle of 15 degrees into the atmosphere, and as it starts to slow down.
We're just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay, what we're looking for now is Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should be in view soon of our vehicle and be able to listen to ones and zeros coming from a separate radio that's really designed to talk between spacecraft.
MRO reports the electro radio is powered on, ready to receive signals from the lander.
Okay, MRO is ready and able and waiting for to hear from our rover.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight level 1
from entry interface.
We don't need these ones and zeros, as Swati said, but to land safely, but we really need it for our own health and well-being today to keep our nerves under control. But
around this time, a second spacecraft, MAVEN, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay. Very soon we'll be getting ones and zeros, I hope, from our radio on the rover. The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So the tones can tell us whether something is bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land, which is a great sign.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry.
Wy to już wiecie, to zaczęło się... O nie, ja nie jestem na żywo. Ej, to trochę straciłem. Fajnie, ja sobie oglądaję, dobra. Ej, spoko. Oj, nie. Idź tam, idź.
We are 1 minute from entry interface.
Ej, ludzie, minuta. To jest totalnie odliczanie teraz. Nie wiem, czy jestem wyciszony. Nie jestem wyciszony na szczęście. Ja tu się już stresuję. Wiecie co? Mam nadzieję, że to się uda. Uwaga, teraz pełny ekran i pełne skupienie.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
O, jest.
Confirm your eject data flow.
23 sekundy. O Jezus. Zawiesiło się. O nie! Słuchajcie.
3 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
3, 2, 1, 0. To jest chyba to jest chyba symulacja. Przecież nie wiem. Ej, to chyba nie jest symulacja. Jakby oni tym chyba kierują teraz. Ej, ludzie.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Bardzo dużo trybów, które muszą robić.
The system is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target.
Chociaż może to być symulacja, przed chwilą.
Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
Ej. 4 osoby były przez chwilę.
The vehicle should be doing its turns right now.
MRO has lost lock.
Perseverance.
To ogląda
We
prawie
have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
MRO has lock again.
Yes.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target.
I się okazuje, że to jest tylko kręcone w Hollywood. I że to jest tylko taki prank. Ale bym się wkurzył.
Perseverance is going about 1 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target.
To leci przecież ponad 1000 metrów na sekundę, ojeju. To ponad kilometr na sekundę leci. To jest malutka prędkość. Ojeju. Jakby wiecie, ja tego live'a trzeci raz robię, bo mi się coś zacięło. Ale tak to ogólnie od 8 ja tu byłem. Nawet przed 8 ja już zacząłem live'ować.
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
MRO's reporting good telemetry log.
We are coming upon the straighten up. We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Yes, yes, yes.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
To ląduje. Ej, ale no znacznie zwolniło. Przecież to 1000 metrów.
Perseverance has now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat chill has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
A bo to są zdjęcia przecież z satelity, tylko przesyłane cały czas. Dobra. To o to chodzi. O, nawet mi pokiwał głową, że tak. To są przecież zdjęcia z satelity i dlatego to jakby tak zacinało wygląda. Widzicie?
Yes, yes, yes.
Perseverance now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface.
Też bije brawo.
Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
Ej, ludzie, patrzcie to.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
O.
We have timing of the landing engines.
Czyli mi się udaje, to dobrze.
Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars.
Ej, Pog.
We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct-to-earth tones.
As expected. As expected.
Sky crane maneuver has started.
Patrzcie.
About 20 meters off the surface.
Patrzcie, jakie podniecenie. Ej, to już dotyka prawie.
We're getting signals from MRO.
Ludzie, to już chyba tego dotyka. Wy,
UHF is good.
pokażcie to, pokażcie to, pokażcie to. Niech oni to pokażą.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance
O
safely
kurde,
on the
dobra.
surface of Mars,
Udało
ready to
się.
begin seeking the signs of past life.
Ludzie, możemy ogłosić oficjalnie po raz drugi na Marsie
At this point, the descent
Na Marsa
stage has
został
flown away
wysłany
to safe distance.
Łazik.
Perseverance is continuing
Ten
to
chyba też
transmit
wylądował.
direct
Bo ten na
through
pewno
Mars
wylądował.
orbiter
Przed chwilą.
to Earth.
Nie no, patrzcie jak oni się cieszą. Kto by się tak nie cieszył? Jakby wam się udało, to też byście się tak cieszyli. Ja też. Przecież każdy.
Oh my God.
Teraz to mogą, wiecie,
Oh,
pokazać jak jest na Marsie. Ej, bo
oh.
No reports they're still
oni
getting
tu
telemetry
po prostu
from the
stoją.
lander.
Też na ich miejscu ledwo bym usiadł, jak ten pan obok.
Ah,
All right, all stations.
Ten pan,
we got it. We're
Touchdown
there.
confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
Wow.
This is so exciting. The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal. Stay tuned. We might get some pictures.
It'd be great.
brawo.
So much has been riding on this.
Yeah, we just heard the
Wylądowali.
news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars.
Nie, dobra, to jakby to było ogólnie kręcone teraz w
Flight would have
Hollywood,
seen the
takie, ej
completion of
dobra,
EDL 3000.
spankujmy ludzi, to by nie
Copy
miało
activity.
sensu.
That is as expected.
Jakby oni by zawiedli tak dużo osób. To NASA w sumie. No więc, no jest zweryfikowane, no to przecież nie.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
Wiecie co? Kończę tego streamka. Gardło mnie boli już. O, już osoby im uciekają. 10 000 osób już im uciekło.
We have just heard the news that Perseverance
Dobra.
is alive on the surface of Mars. Congratulations to the mission. And looks like we have some more news in. It looks like we're getting the
zdjęcia
first
będą.
image. Here,
Wy,
take a look
są
at the
filmik.
first image.
Kamera. Ile to?
Flight, this is OL3.
pokazuje tylko
I
do
have
godzin
the
wstecz.
target point on the map when you are ready.
We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
Tu jest chyba ta kamera.
Flight, I'll be
Brawo dla
moving
całego
in,
teamu.
showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
Szacun. Patrzcie, kamera. Na Marsa mamy widoczność.
The team has just put the first image from Perseverance on the surface of Mars. Now it comes from the engineering cameras known as the hazard camera. This camera is mainly used to help the rover drive safely around Mars, and we will get higher resolution photos later in the day.
Brawo. A to będzie niestety koniec streamka. Mi gardło wysiada.
This is amazing.
Dobra, siema.
Andrew.